volunteerance.
Bum, 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 bum.
Gajoog. Well,
We made it. A couple days late, but
we're late.
yeah. How you feeling?
Sue me. I feel better. I don't get sick often. So when I do, it can rock my world. But yeah, I'm feeling fine.
Nice.
And you?
Fine's good. I'm also feeling fine. I'm feeling energetic. I feel spring is on the horizon. Life feels like busy and chaotic, but in a joyful and good way. And like, yeah, lots to be excited about. Lots to like look forward to right now, I think.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Every time it's sunny, I just feel better. We just already came off a pre-rant rant, as we do.
Pre-show jitters. As they are.
Pre-show jitters. Lots of interesting things to talk about, but we're going to call today's episode, inspired by Alex, The Weirding Way. And what I mean by that is, well, actually it's multifaceted, but the weirding way as in the multiple ways that we express ourselves in the world, being interpreted as kind of being an oddity, standing out from the crowd, even when you're not trying to stand out from the crowd. Yeah, I think we'll start it off because this is a fun way to start off, is for the longest time, I have been really into sound. And not just sound as a frequency, but sound as like the sound of frogs, the sound of crickets. Like hearing them makes me feel a certain way. You know, the sound of music and how I interpret that. Leading me into, probably about 8 years ago now, I started to sing. And I started singing in a harmony class. So it's just a group of people, a whole variety of skill levels. And all we would do is just make sounds together. And it really took my journey of like, and making funny sounds for myself to like, oh, what if I actually practice this skill and can use my voice to channel like a frequency and like sing and create. And the more that I did that, the more I realized that I didn't really care about the words that were said. I care more about the frequency of the sound made. So if you play a song for me, like, oh, I want you to hear this song. And this would happen when I would date people. They're like, I want you to hear this song. Like, and they'll send me this song and I'll listen to it and be like, the music's kind of average. And they're like, did you hear what they said? And I was like, oh shit, they wanted me to actually like pay attention to what they were saying. And I realized it was really hard for me. And I never really thought too much about it because when I listen to a song, I don't really hear the words unless someone tells me to really listen to the words. I listen to the harmonies, the layers, the melody. I hear all of the music, and that's because the way I interpreted it was quite different than average folk.
Which I also found ironic for you because you're a lover of poetry, and like music is poetry, or like song lyrics and rap, you know, all that. It's all technically poetry. So, but I agree. It coming from the same point generally, and I think that maybe also comes especially as like dancers, your creative body maybe is looking, it's like feeling for the beat to make you like move to it. I think that's the first thing we try to identify, like, oh, is it danceable or not, or like, and in what way? And then so it might be different if someone like a true singer, maybe they hear, maybe they would approach it differently. But
yeah, because I keep that separate. Like my poetry, I like to write it and put music on it. So when you're hearing the music, it evokes something while you're reading it, but I never want to actually verbalize it.
Yeah.
That's never been an impulse.
Yeah. But I want to touch on an interesting thing you said about sort of discovering the power of the actual singing, because that's sort of where I'm at now. Like, you've seen me over the years, like much quieter, and then learning how to get into the like blah, 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 and make sound effects and mimic animals and mimic characters I see from movies or whatever. And
can we talk about your breakout moment before you get into this rant? I want you to explain the breakout moment.
Yeah, I think we did talk about it on another show already, but
dude.
We were out camping, And yeah, what was it? Oh, it's the line from Troy. Belagrius.
Oh, Boagrius.
Yeah. Oh, Boagrius. That's it. Yeah, I always think it's Boagrius. Yeah. And it was that one. We were at a lake that had like a sweet echo, but you had to like battle cry it to get the proper echo.
Yeah.
And you were out there doing it. We were standing like waist high, naked at this beautiful like alpine lake. And then I think one moment I just finally like let it rip. Not the most resonant, deepest, but just fucking let it go. And I remember you turned around and you were just like,
I'd never seen it. I've never heard you make a loud noise ever until that moment, and I didn't realize it until that moment.
But I was also attached to this thing of like, no, you don't show anger, you don't, this identity with wanting to be like the quiet person, the composed, and that was like a watershed moment for my life. After that, it was like, oh, this does feel good, and like, we've talked about obviously there's complications doing it in the city and doing it where people might think that's a threat or something, and then it was just like a snowball effect of just like, realizing that the inner monologue in my head was also just like verbalizing it, and that resonance was part of my lifestyle. And I even learned that through like fitness figures and people talking about how humming and singing and learning how to like sense your voice muscles better even. It's like a form of like echolocation in your body. Like you can use the humming, you can use the sound to kind of like bounce it around inside and better map your like sensory system.
Which honestly, you're making me think about when singing jumped. It's not even about singing, it's about making sound jumped for me. Like, because like when we're out in the forest, this is a little side tangent, but like the first thing we're doing is we're trying to mimic ravens, because there's ravens all over here. Or if I can do a right now, this would be amazing. Like the eagle. Yeah, the eagle sound. So right away we're trying to mimic sounds, but why am I singing? I now do throat singing, Tuvan throat singing. Shout out to Alex Couillard, the person that I've taken his course and learning from, who lives in Tuva province. It is about resonance and how it affects your nervous system more than, look at me, I can sing. Hey everyone, come sit around and hear me belt out some, like, no, it's not what I want. It's why we go, if you look at our YouTube shorts, why we go to the caves is because there's a resonance. And if you're going, in the cave, it not only just feels good inside of me, it is a form of meditation that is regulating my nervous system. And by proxy, whoever's there with me will get that effect. To the point where now Alex may not be doing the kaikura, the throat sing, but he's doing low resonant toning, because he now, feeling is knowing, now has felt that impact and how it's doing something for your nervous system. But no one taught that to you. No. How do you know that? How do you know that that's right for you? Like, why did you start doing that?
I don't know. It's just the one word that pops in my mind is like harmony. Like it's that feeling of like falling into a groove. And there's something about like catching it where it's like, because then you flutter out of it as you're learning, like that tone in the cave that we're talking about. It's like, it's not something where you're like projecting with your voice. It's you're closing your, epiglottis, and it's coming out more nasally, like through the top of your head.
Yeah, the tone's coming through the back of your skull like a big dome.
So it's like, it's learning that and then kind of overshooting and undershooting, and you have that sort of clear feedback marker. When you hit that tone, then the space you're in will like speak it back to you. And it's just like, one of those moments. It's like getting a swish, it's like getting a perfect gap, whatever it is. It's like you hit it right and you're like, oh, that's satisfying.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I want to do that again.
Yeah.
It's like skipping a really nice rock or something. You're like, oh, you're not the rock hitting the water, but you can feel it. You can feel each like, and you're like, oh, God, that feels good.
Yeah, it's a satisfaction.
Yeah. So, And then before you know it, you're practicing, and then you're hitting it each time, and then you're going alone, or you're going with friends, and
for no real purpose other than to do it and feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like there's no real like I'm gonna be the best throat singer in the world. Like
no,
you know, like I want to get better at it so that when I do it for myself and when I share it with others, it has the highest impact to make us feel good or to change our day. Like that can change a day. When we have a good cave day and we're like ripping sounds in there, I come out and I'm like, all right, like
yeah,
I'm changed.
And sometimes we spend like a good half hour in there, sometimes just like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so this is the extension of sound in the weirding way, whereas like more relevant the topic would be in our bodies and the skills that we look for and have pursued in our lives, and because we've lived quite differently, like for how close we are, like we do have a different way that we found our way to these knowledges, and like being embodied in your body. I chose dance, specifically popping, because it was the embodiment of magic. It was the only dance style when I watched it I went, what the fuck?
There's an element of illusion there.
Like, how are you doing that?
That's
like,
unreal.
Oh my god, I need to do that.
Yeah.
I want to know what that feels like. I want to be able to give that to someone. And that whole way of, over the many, many years of doing it, where you start out and it's all vanity and you're like, I want to be good and I want to be sexy to women and I want to like, and then it just, all of that fades and it's about the community. It's about the knowledge of the culture. It's about the feeling that evokes when you are able to coordinate your body with the music. I know this.
Yeah.
It's sitting on my head. But yeah, the dance in and of itself and what that has done for me, it's opened doors for opportunities in my career as an actor. It's opened doors for relationships and some of the people I've met through that community. It's opened doors in how I was able to impact my parents, my mom specifically, because she grew up with a lot of movement in her life.
Yeah.
And being able to, so like that makes me think of how dance became something kind of spiritual for me. But I wonder, like, how has dance impacted your life in terms of who you believe you are now? Like, how do you believe that it has built you into this current iteration of Alex? Like, how is it highlighted? How may it have been different if you didn't have that physical knowledge in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the way I've always seen it is sort of like, for anyone who's played like video games before, is it's kind of like as you're leveling up and like you do the talent tree, like so even within a class of characters you're like, oh, I'm putting more points into this like talent skill and this talent skill, and like that's kind of what it feels like for me. It feels like gamifying life, and it just feels like learning to dance has given me like a different like lens that I can put on and experience and view the world with. But I think where this is kind of going is like this idea that we got into these things because they were different and they were maybe weird and they were fringe and all that, and then in doing them and in like naturalizing it within our own bodies, you come to this point and you're like, oh no, this is actually normal. And why aren't more people doing this in like a much more normal way? And like, don't get me wrong, it's amazing to be a career artist or like be a professional artist and make your living from it and do all that. But I think I saw a quote online once. It's like, oh, art's become this thing that you monetize and you hobbify and everything. Whereas it's like, I think before it's just like, this is just something that humans do. Just like how bees make hives and trees grow towards the light. Humans make noise and sing and beat on drums and dance. And
in some cultures you do see that, like think of Uganda, where when we were in Africa, like you go to any house, you go to any household, as soon as their music is playing, everyone's just dancing. They're not like, hey, I'm a dancer, watch my TikTok. Like, no, they're just
and so that's why we call all this noise making and singing weird, because when we're at the cave and people walk by, it's a mix of like they're not used to seeing it there, and it's a mix of, is this a threat? Like, what are they doing? They're curious. Can we join in?
Which we've had all.
Yeah.
We've had all of those experiences.
Animals react really strangely. Dogs don't understand it. Dogs get really
dogs get
nervous
weird
about it.
We haven't had any cats show up, so can't really comment on that.
Let's hope no wildcats
Yeah,
show
no
up to our
wildcats.
sessions.
Yeah. They'd probably be down, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
I have realized that what we're that's the irony of what us talking about this like weirding way is that the things that we are considered maybe an oddity for doing, I feel are the most human elements of us. In all of humanity, we've always sang and we've always danced. Singing is a language, dancing is a language. And so we have just chosen those two languages to pursue, and not really professionally, even though we've done a little bit in a bit of both, but like, yeah, they're really for the growth of, for me, the growth of my spirit and my body and my mind. It keeps me clear. It's a form of meditation. And I really do want to share that inspiration. And obviously, like, we've been friends for a long time. So whenever I did it around you, I always hoped like one day, you know, you'll do it on your own and you'll find your own way, not to be a singer, to be a, you know, but like to...
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side, I feel like these things, perhaps everyone can relate to this, but like when you hear someone sing really well or dance or whatever, it's kind of something where you're always like, fuck, I wish I could do that. Whereas I feel like other artistic hobbies, maybe they're a little like lower on the scale. You're like, okay, like that's really cool, but like, I don't, you know, feel the need to become that thing. But like singing and dancing in particular, and perhaps like great musical ability, playing instruments, or even like languages. When you hear someone who can speak like 5 or 6 languages fluently, you're always, it's always a flex. You're always like, damn, I wish I could fucking just like switch between and turn this way and speak Chinese or Mandarin or Cantonese, and then turn this way and speak French, and then
superpower.
Yeah, so I feel like these things in particular, they do evoke a little bit of like healthy jealousy, where you kind of look at it and you're like, fuck. You can see that someone is in their humanness and like expressing and doing it freely, and you can hear it, like all that communication, like you said, the language is happening, and something in you is kind of like, I wish I could do that. Or you hear that every time you say, oh, I'm a dancer, and people are like, oh, I wish I could dance.
I wish I could dance. You can. Every person who can walk and make a sound out of your mouth can sing and dance, and if anything, it's probably been one of the most connecting factors of my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Like since when you dance or make sound, does it not make people curious or interested or laugh or maybe do it themselves and be like, oh, I now have permission. You know, we brought friends to the cave, and they're like, well, some of them are like, whoa, this is crazy, and some of them are like, can I rip? I'm like, do it. Yeah. And they're like, ah! Or they're like, ooh! Like they'll do something because they're like, I now have permission. Yeah. Because you're right. In the city, you can't just wake up in your apartment and be like, bleh.
Yeah. But you also, it does help like setting that space, and like you demonstrate, and then you're like, oh, it's safe. Like no one's gonna judge you. Like, hey, you could scream, you can make a sound effect. You can make a beautiful, like, the highest opera note you can make. Like,
and even if they did judge you, who fucking cares? Like, the payoff is always more valuable than any judgment that will come, because you're going to inspire and connect more than you're going to be judged.
Yeah. But I think that's where people get confused. They think when they are around someone who's exhibiting skill and years of training, they're like, oh, I can't do it that good, so I shouldn't do it at all. And it's like, well, I would hope that you're not as good of a dancer as me. If you're just picking this up right now, and I've been doing this for 16 years, if you were as good as me,
that would blow my mind.
Yeah, I'd be like, man, like, I practiced. Yeah. Of course you're not going to be as good as me. Of course you're not going to be as good as a professional singer. Yeah. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it or shouldn't contribute.
And there's so many facets of that. Like, think about in dance specifically with freestyle dances and choreographed dances. Like, freestylers are interpreting music using the techniques they've learned and just making it up on the spot, whereas a choreographed dance is like you build the look of the whole thing to the song, and then you teach these exact movements to the part of the song where it's built into how the music plays out. So the different interpretations, like singing, if you're an opera singer and you're reading lines of music and you're going, you know, hitting this note, saying this word, you're choreographing to a song, whereas someone just going is just like interpreting the feeling of the moment and making sound. So there's so many facets to how you can approach both like movement and sound that are purely your personal authentic interpretation of those languages.
Yeah.
And like, how much better would it be if everyone was singing and dancing, honestly? Like, if everyone had their own authentic, interpersonal way of sharing those skills freely, oh my God.
Because we all want to.
Everyone
That's why
wants
we
to.
sing in places like the shower in the car.
Yes.
The,
You want
but
it.
but the shower kind of drowns out the noise. You can harmonize with the background noise and like.
So you're all weirdos, is what we're saying.
That's why we'll all sing at a concert.
Yes.
It's loud and full of people, but then
No one's looking at me. No one's looking at me. Yeah. Same with dancing in the corner. Like, you'll do your thing and be like, but don't look at me.
Yeah.
If we could erode the self-deprecating and the judgment out of it, I think that's the ideal. This is why when I was a teacher, when I went to university, got a degree to be a teacher. A big thing I was trying to teach was I wanted to teach partner dance to combat sexual assault. This was a legitimate thing I wanted to do. That if I could teach children to communicate, eye contact, request touch, allow the touch, and communicate all of that trust and partnership framing, that we would unlock a lot of the insecurity around dance, but also combat sexual assault, right? Because you're teaching consent, you're teaching respect, you're teaching eye contact, all these really important things between male and female energies, but also you're allowing kids to be free in your body after you've built these consensual
and teaching closeness without sexuality.
Yes.
It's like, if you're gonna partner dance with someone or
and now imagine that you had that, and then you built a framework out of that was, okay, now you have freestyle dances, you have contemporary, you have hip hop, you have all these different facets they could take and explore that allow you to explore your body, explore communication with people. But we become adults and we look at media and we go, oh, well, only people who are really good at dancing are people who like train as dancers. It's like, no, that's not
the only
true.
people who are allowed to express in these ways are the people who do it professionally.
Yes.
As if it's like, oh, because you have this stamp of like, I make money from doing this and I have this thing, or I have all these things to show, then I am allowed and no one else, or people think, well, I'm not allowed because I don't do that. I don't.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like you said it right, is like everyone has that in their closet. Yeah. They want to sing, they want to dance. They probably have a bunch of random skills. Like, I'm gonna ask you this, but I'll state mine first. I have a 9-foot bullwhip and I crack a whip. I don't know, actually it was my friend Naveed, shout out Naveed, amazing man. He worked on a film where he literally taught people how to crack a whip and for the show C. And when I saw him do it at the park, I said, where can I get a whip? And he showed me the guy who made it, and I ordered one and just started going by myself. And then he taught me, and then I started looking at YouTube tutorials and taught myself to crack a whip. Yeah. There is no fucking reason in the world that I did that for anything other than like, I want to just feel what it's like to make the sound, to learn the skill and be good at it. Like, what obscure skill have you just learned to be like, oh, this is just a thing I need to express?
I'll probably go to the drumming. I bought a cajon. It was after my first, like, I am not a drummer. I'm always like, fidgety and tappy and stuff, and people would be like, oh, you should get into drumming. But for some reason, every time I've sat on like a drum set, I mean, obviously I'm untrained and it is a little overwhelming, but like, but with my hands, always doing something. And I remember at a medicine ceremony, I saw someone play a style drum, and I was just like, out of my mind, but I'm like, what is that? Like, I could just feel my whole attention being like, what is he playing? And I could, with all the background noise of people chanting, doing whatever, releasing they needed to do, I could just hear the sound of this drum, and I was like, I'm gonna find one. And then I just started browsing online, and I think I used ChatGPT, and it recommended someone like in the neighborhood, like near me. And I took a trip out to Vancouver Island. I rode a ferry and rented a car to go like buy a drum from some hippie, and I like don't drum, but I was like, I need to just have one of these. And yeah, sometimes I practice more, intentionally and more regularly, and other times I just like don't touch it at all. But it's cool. It's just awesome to like, when I feel like fucking banging on something or bringing it out and like dum dum dum. Yeah. Sometimes I'm not really even like making music or trying to like make a song. I'm just like, boom, 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 boom.
Because it just feels good.
Yeah.
That internal expression wants to leak out.
And as of now, I have no desire to like become a drummer or join a band or do any of those things. Could it still happen one day? Of course, yeah. I'm open to it, or,
Have you found that these weirding ways, these tools of expression have impacted your relationships? Like how have they woven into the way that you communicate with people in maybe friendships and maybe even intimate relationships?
I mean, for sure. I think in both arenas, whether romantic or friendship, it's like they're like little. Going back to this idea of can you hang? They're almost like little tests.
Yeah.
And even in my own way, it's like you can float them out. You can float out sounds or invitations of certain kind to like bait people and see if they bite, see if they join in the sound, see if they also scream, or see where they're at with it. And,
is there resistance?
Okay, yeah, exactly. It's kind of just like, it's also me revealing myself to you, who I really am, but also not in a like, dump a bucket of water on you. It's like, hey, here's something I do, and here's like a little sneak peek of it.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And to see how they interpret that information.
Yeah.
Because you can tell a lot about how someone's looking at you while you're doing something like this, and they're it ranges from like to like.
Yeah. And now that's a thing that I'm so conscious. Like it stings in a little bit of a way when someone's always constantly just like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we hear like our mom's voices or something.
Yeah.
I still remember when I wanted to take dance as a teenager. She was like, I could hear it. I still remember it to this day. She was talking to a friend on the phone, and he's like, "Yeah, we wants to take dance." And I just remember that tone. And I'd be like,
"Fuck
yeah, exactly." Obviously, I never say that. I would never say that to my mom. But
yeah.
I just wanted to be like, "Yes, I want to take dance."
Yeah.
You gonna support me? Or you gonna?
Well, also, she probably didn't have the opportunity when she was young, so she didn't
No.
know. Like, that's the thing is, if you have empathy around it, I know you know that.
And it was weird. Like, it wasn't a normal thing you could take. It was.
I didn't have it.
Yeah, most people would take wood shop or cooking or whatever.
Yeah,
more sports. And it's like.
And how fortunate.
Yeah, I was very fortunate, but
my God.
I'm sure it was weird for my parents. And be like, oh, now we want to drive them out to these like dance workshops, or it's
I mean, I think about that in a broader sense to the beauty of. Obviously, there's a lot of toxic elements in media and using apps to access the worldwide media, but there's also a lot of opportunity for people to expand the weirdness of themselves by learning skills really easily. Like you can learn to play any instrument, you can learn any dance style using the internet. You don't actually need to travel to New York or Los Angeles or Brazil, or you can learn everything online. So with the right setup and tools, like we have more access than we've ever had to really.
You can at least get started.
Yeah. I would have never found throat singing if it wasn't for the internet. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't even know what you were talking about.
And even with the internet, you're still finding people and teachers who are, giving you lessons and giving you instruction and guidance.
Have you found that these so-called oddities have pushed people away in your life?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes. I think perhaps more so in the romantic sense or in those relationships, it can initially be something that draws people in and they're infatuated with it and they're like, oh, it's like you're fun and you're weird and it's novel and it's cool, and then after a while it can also be like, oh, it's always like that. It's always weird and it's always novel and
it's
I acknowledge like it can get tiring, and I probably felt that from people at times as well. And that's just the like nature of relationships. It's just, you want one thing at one. Something can be cool and a turn on and attractive in one moment, and then in the next one it can be like, okay, I could have this stop.
Just like the other day, we were in the forest.
Oh yeah.
In the forest, and I'm practicing my and he's just like, man, I can see after a while just being like, shut up.
Yeah. And obviously when you're the one doing it and zoning in and feeling the sensation, it's like a different experience and you kind of get lost in it, you space out, and the person next to you is like, I could not listen to this right now. It is a beautiful noise, but I could.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like, we're all just trying to pursue the good feelings. We're always chasing that high because life is full of hardship. And I'm looking for every little momentary glimpse at beauty and peace and stillness and good feeling I can, because I've experienced a lot of hard things, and when if I have a skill that I can bring me out of a moment or bring me into a place where I'm not thinking about the shitty things happening, like I take it. And that's the thing, is like sometimes in friendship or even in relationship, they can just be like, not now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and there's that balance of like, do they have that? I've found that it's kind of been neither here nor there in my relationships that people have really crazy skills that bothered me. For the most part, I've looked at their skills and been like, wow, that's really cool. Can you show me more? Can you reveal more about who you are through that medium? Because I'm interested, I'm curious. I don't know, like, it may seem like I'm very like me, like look at me, but I'm not. I really actually want to be more in your thing, and I've found that, that's been difficult. I've usually been the one who has like, oh, he cracks a whip and he does throat singing and he dances and he sings and he swims and he does like, plays these crazy instruments and, I really would like to see just on average, like we said, more people just using those expressive tools, and what people call weird is not weird, it's humanness. And I would love to see a revolution back to humanness.
And I feel like that's what we're talking about now is what I would put forward as like maintaining your childish nature or inner childishness. It's like, yes, you still like, we're all adults, we gotta pay bills, you got stuff you gotta do, but like,
be curious.
Yeah, within all that, you can still be curious and like learn new things and sing and dance and twirl around or whatever it is. It's like, but you can also be mature and intelligent and settled and stable, and
because the time will come where your body may not be able to do those things, and if you never did it, you may not know what you're missing. But woo, man, once you have those things under your belt, it just adds a little bit of pepper, some papier to your life. To have those things for yourself that end up helping and inspiring and challenging and being kind of like a weirdness to others. But I think no matter what, someone might in the moment be like, oh, that's weird, and then they go home and they go, that's kind of cool actually. Like, I wonder, like,
and like think about the inspiring people in your life. That's what, to me, famous artists are. Like, I don't have to love everyone's art, but it's like I can like the way they present or move or whatever, and it's like, for us, like the Jim Carreys and the and even in those scenes, there's people who are like way out there and they're the super weird ones, and they're, like Andy Kaufman was like a master troll, almost to the point where like people like hated him.
Oh yeah.
And then there's other versions of that. So it's like, look out at the world, look out at your friend circle, and like you should probably be inspired by your friend circle.
Be the thing you want to be, because regrets suck.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there. Regrets suck.
Regrets suck, and there's time to mitigate that.
Have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you next time.